Wow, we made it to part 20 of very special episodes. That's 20 deep dives into emotional, powerful, and sometimes heartbreaking episodes that went beyond the usual laughs or adventure. Whether animated or live action, these moments stuck with us. I want to take a second to thank all of you for the amazing suggestions you've sent in over the months. Your comments, messages, and support help this series keep growing. Keep them coming because we're not slowing down anytime soon. This installment spans everything from Sesame Street and Small Wonder to A Different World and Star Trek Deep Space Nine. These shows use their platforms to teach, challenge, and connect in ways we still feel today. Let's run it back. Sesame Street, Hurricane on Sesame Street. In a landmark multi-episode arc that ran across episodes 3,854 to 3,858, Sesame Street tackled a natural disaster in a way few children's shows ever had. When a hurricane hits Sesame Street, Big Bird's nest is completely destroyed. This wasn't a one-off situation quickly forgotten by the next scene. His home was gone, and the community had to rally around him to help him cope and rebuild. The storyline approached the topic with gentle honesty, showing the emotional impact of losing something important. The episodes taught children not only about the basics of hurricanes and safety, but also about resilience, grief, and community. Big Bird goes through very real emotions: fear, confusion, sadness, and it's the support from his neighbors that helps him heal. In the real world, these episodes aired shortly after several devastating storms had impacted families across the U.S., making the content not just timely, but deeply personal for many. This arc proved that Sesame Street wasn't just about numbers and letters. It was about empathy and preparation for real life. Small Wonder, Woodward, and Bernstein. This episode centers on Jamie and Reggie entering a school journalism contest, which leads them to uncover something far more serious than their rejected cafeteria expose. When Vicky casually mentions that new student Chrissy looks like a girl from a missing child milk carton, the boys investigate. The principal dismisses it at first, but Ted finds another carton to confirm the suspicion. Chrissy's father has been on the run with her. Despite the heavy subject matter of parental abduction, the story is wrapped up hastily. Chrissy vanishes again, only for Ted to later receive a phone call saying she's been reunited with her mother. Jamie and Reggie win the contest but can't celebrate, knowing what Chrissy went through. It's a rare attempt by Small Wonder to tackle a real-world issue, though the serious plot is given minimal time and ultimately feels like an afterthought. George Lopez, the show Dyslexic. In this emotional episode, George and Angie are called to a parent-teacher conference and learn that Max may be dyslexic. While Angie takes it seriously, George immediately pushes back, worried Max will be mocked if placed in special education. At home, the tension grows when Angie points out that George may have undiagnosed dyslexia himself, something he flatly denies. But when George struggles with a work report, and his mother Benny admits teachers raised similar concerns about him as a child, the truth begins to sink in. What makes this episode special is how it unpacks the generational stigma surrounding learning disabilities, especially in working class and Latino families. George's fear of ridicule is real, but so is the damage caused by ignoring these issues. In the end, George tells Max they'll face this together, and both commit to improving their reading. It's a powerful message about breaking cycles, owning your struggles, and supporting your kids in ways you wish someone had supported you. The mix of humor and heartfelt honesty makes this one of the show's most impactful episodes. The Wonder Years, Pilot. The very first episode of The Wonder Years sets the tone for what the series would become, a nostalgic, heartfelt look back at growing up in 1960s America. While it's not a traditional very special episode in structure, its impact is undeniable. The pilot ends with the shocking death of Kevin Arnold's friend Winnie Cooper's brother Brian, who is killed in Vietnam. This moment pulls the rug out from under what felt like a wholesome coming-of-age story, immediately grounding it in the reality of war and loss. The way Kevin comforts Winnie in the woods after she hears the news is one of the most poignant scenes in television history. It reflects the loss of innocence, not just for Kevin, but for an entire generation. The pilot episode serves as both a love letter to childhood and a harsh reminder that it doesn't last forever. By introducing trauma, grief, and world events so early, the Wonder Years made it clear that it wasn't just another family sitcom. It was going to tell the truth about growing up. Boy Meets World, cult fiction. Cult fiction is one of the most famous episodes of Boy Meets World, and for good reason. In this episode, Sean is drawn into a cult run by a seemingly friendly man named Mr. Mac. At first, it seems like he's found a place where he belongs, especially since he's always felt like an outsider. But things spiral quickly, and it becomes clear that this is no ordinary community. It's emotional manipulation in disguise. The episode climaxes with Mr. Turner being seriously injured in a motorcycle crash, and Sean's emotional outburst in the hospital, asking God not to let him die, is heartbreaking. It's a raw performance that shows the depth of Sean's need for stability and love. The writers pull no punches in showing how vulnerable teens can be to exploitation when they feel lost. Cult fiction remains one of the boldest episodes in teen sitcom history, proving that Boy Meets World wasn't afraid to get serious when it mattered. Sister Sister Father's Day. In the season 6 episode Father's Day, Tia and Tamara believe they may have found their biological father when a visiting photojournalist, Matt Sullivan, arrives on their college campus looking for Tia Landry. The twins become convinced he's their long-lost dad, triggering a whirlwind of emotions and what-if scenarios. Ray is suspicious, especially after discovering Matt has a criminal record, but eventually agrees to have him over for dinner. The dinner is tense, and the family wrestles with whether to embrace this man as part of their lives or protect themselves from potential disappointment. The episode touches on big themes: absent parents, identity, and race. Tamara has to come to terms with the possibility of having a white biological father, while both girls confront the emotional gap left by not knowing their origins. There's no neat resolution, but the show handles the subject with maturity, compassion, and just enough humor to stay true to its tone. Father's Day stands out in the Sister Sister series for its emotional weight and honest reflection on family, showing that sometimes the answers we seek don't come easily, but the conversations they spark matter just as much. Roseanne, The Miracle. In The Miracle, Darlene gives birth prematurely after efforts to stop her labor fail. Her baby girl is born with underdeveloped lungs and can't even cry. The doctors are honest. Survival is unlikely. Roseanne pulls every string she can, bringing in specialists from around the world, but the prognosis stays the same. Meanwhile, Darlene spirals into guilt, blaming herself for everything. David comforts her, reminding her that no one deserves what they're going through, and that all they can do is give their daughter a chance. The episode builds to an emotional crescendo when the women of the Harris side of the family each share a moment with the baby. Jackie, Beverly, Becky, and Roseanne offer words of strength and love before Darlene names her daughter Harris, honoring the powerful women in her life. It's a heartbreaking, raw scene that shows how even in the face of tragedy, family becomes a source of hope. In a final quiet moment, baby Harris stirs and opens her eyes, proving she's stronger than anyone imagined. We got each other, sharing the love. Growing Pains. Thank God it's Friday. In this episode, Mike Seaver attends a party where cocaine is casually being used, throwing him into a dilemma between peer pressure and doing the right thing. This episode tackled the issue of drug use head-on during the height of the Just Say No era, but it did so in a way that felt honest and grounded rather than preachy. Mike isn't a perfect character, and the temptation he faces is real. What sets this episode apart is the way it captures the internal conflict of wanting to fit in while knowing something is wrong. Kirk Cameron delivers a surprisingly mature performance as Mike grapples with his choices and the consequences that could follow. The episode ends with a serious talk between Mike and his father, reinforcing the importance of communication and boundaries. In a sea of drug episodes during the 1980s, this one managed to stand out by trusting its audience to think.
It's a different than where you come from. Than where you come from.
A Different World, Love Taps. This is one of the most powerful episodes of A Different World, focusing on domestic abuse in young relationships. When Gina starts dating a charming new guy, everything seems fine, until he becomes physically violent. The episode doesn't shy away from the warning signs, showing the shift from verbal manipulation to physical control. It's uncomfortable, and that's exactly the point. This episode aired at a time when abuse in teen or college-age relationships was rarely discussed on television. What made it even more impactful was the way the show used its ensemble to support Gina, showing that survivors need love, patience, and a way out. Ron's anger, Whitley's concern, and Dwayne's disbelief all mirror the reactions people have in real life. Love Taps sent a strong message. No matter how much someone says they love you, violence is never acceptable. Star Trek Deep Space Nine: Hard Time. In one of the darkest and most emotionally intense episodes in the entire Star Trek franchise, Chief Miles O'Brien is falsely convicted of espionage and subjected to a psychological punishment by the Argrathi. 20 years of simulated imprisonment compressed into just a few hours. But to O'Brien, those years were real. He returns to Deep Space Nine deeply traumatized, haunted by the experience and plagued by hallucinations of his former cellmate, HR. Despite support from Keiko and Bashir, O'Brien struggles to adjust, lashing out at his family and coworkers, drowning in guilt and PTSD. The episode reaches a heartbreaking climax when O'Brien nearly takes his own life, confessing he murdered HR in the simulation over a misunderstanding about food. Bashir intervenes and reminds him that feeling remorse means he's still a good man, despite what he believes. This episode powerfully explores mental health, trauma, and survivor's guilt in a way that's rarely seen in science fiction, or television in general. With no easy solutions, Hard Time leaves us with a sobering message. Healing is a long process, and sometimes survival itself is an act of courage. That wraps up part 20 of very special episodes. It's wild to think how far we've come with this series, and it's all thanks to you. Keep suggesting episodes in the comments or community posts. There's still a lot more to cover. Whether it's a cartoon or a primetime drama, these moments help us grow, think, and sometimes even heal. A huge shout out and heartfelt thank you to our amazing throwback tier members, Thicula, iCritic, Jeremy Bowen, Mr. Blanks, and Sonic and Leighton Fan. Your support means the world, and you're helping keep the nostalgia alive in a big way. I also want to thank all the other awesome members who support the channel. Whether you're new or you've been rocking with us from the beginning, I appreciate every single one of you. If you enjoyed this, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another deep dive into the most powerful episodes TV has ever given us. Until next time, keep the nostalgia alive.
Keeping the nostalgia alive. Memories that go where the essence survives. Breathing in the past, let the future arrive. Roots in the earth, keeping the nostalgia alive. Keeping the nostalgia alive.